it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel, TGIF. I am so late today. I can't even believe how late. I have been doing some research all morning for all these new videos that will be coming up in the future, and I hope you guys can be so excited for all the Quiverful content we're going to do coming up. And another Quiverful family is coming to air. Yay! Because why is TLC so obsessed with these large families? Please tell me. Anyways, the Plaths are back. Welcome to Plathville, aka the family that has a wet blanket for a mom and a complete control freak, Kim Plath, aka the Plaths version of Jim Bob Duggar. Yes, that's correct. All right, so welcome to Plathville. We'll be back for the second season, and the last season we saw a lot of, it was only 6 episodes, to be honest. It was a really short season, and I was shocked that it was brought back for a second season, to be honest, because the overall ratings weren't that great, but I guess TLC literally doesn't care. Anyways, when we were introduced to the family, they all lived on a farm. The kids had never had soda. They don't eat sugar. The kids don't get to watch TV. Kim gets to watch TV and use her iPad and her iPhone and watch YouTube, but her kids do not. Oh, the hypocrisy. We also learned all about how there was a division in the family with Ethan and his wife Olivia causing quite the ruckus in the family because, you know, they drink alcohol and they don't follow the rules. Kim and Barry Plath, i.e. the people that have no fun and literally don't want anyone to have fun and want to keep their kids controlled and away from everyone, were not super fond of Olivia trying to help Mariah find her voice. So Mariah ended up at the very end of the season going off to Minnesota. She was given a one-way ticket by her sister-in-law, Olivia, which apparently was a surprise per the show. But Olivia Plath has said repeatedly in the media that she had the permission of Kim to buy a ticket for Mariah. Mariah spent a couple months in Minnesota and was actually back to the farm shortly thereafter. Kim and Barry Plath did not want her gone, but only a few months after she returned to the farm, she was literally kicked out. So in this new season, we are going to see how the Plaths legit kicked their daughter out for doing way less things than Kim did as a kid. So we need to get into some of the hypocrisy here because Kim is the definition of a hypocrite. Kim grew up with a mother that she claims liked the sauce. Kim herself liked the sauce. She was in college. She went to Florida State University. She was in a sorority. She also picked up a couple tickets for, you know, having open containers in her car, you know, just the typical thing. She talked about driving well, having too much, drinking too much. And yet her daughter was kicked out because she wanted to wear short shorts and listen to regular country music. Can you imagine that hypocrisy? You literally could not even stick to the things that you are demanding your kids do. You can't even do the things that your kids do. She doesn't let her kids eat sugar, but she eats sugar. She doesn't want her kids to drink, but she has a past. And she kicks out her daughter after she claims that she had a worse childhood than her daughter and did worse things. You think that this would be compassion, but no. Kim is super judgmental, thinks that she is going to force her kids to not be like her, and somehow, as a result of them not obeying her, she kicks her daughter out when she's 17 years old. Sounds legitimate. All right. So we're going to see Micah and Mariah move out. The fallout of Ethan and Olivia not getting along and being sort of pushed out to the side by Kim and Barry Plath. And Kim and Barry Plath, the hypocrites that lived on the farm, are moving off the farm and into their luxurious house that was paid for by TLC. No, I don't even know if it was paid for by TLC. But all of this got me thinking about Kim Plath and her really shady past. So I was digging into some court records and I looked back and I noticed that back in 1991, she was actually picked up in Florida and had an open container. Yeah, that's right. She was driving with an open bottle and she had to pay a fine. She's done this several times, and there was a couple different driving infractions that included, you know, equipment or alcohol, you know, whatever, just your standard things. But that's not even sort of the shadiest stuff. I was actually looking at some records from Cairo, Georgia, and I noticed that prior to their starting of filming, suddenly the Plaths needed birth certificates for their kids. So before they were ever on the show, They literally did not have birth certificates for 7 of their kids. So their 2 oldest children, Hosanna and Ethan, actually had birth certificates, but in 2017, shortly before they began filming with TLC, they had to make a petition to the court to be granted birth certificates of their children because they never actually recorded the live births of their children. So the court eventually ordered and provided like birth certificates for the 7 youngest kids. So she says in their petition to the court, she said that they were born at home to a midwife and they didn't have any medical care. So she basically admits that throughout their lives, she provided them no medical care. Yes, that sounds like a wonderfully, completely astute mother. So she never registered them with the state until she had to get paid. Think about this. Well, at least allegedly. So she has this petition to the court and they do end up granting it. And so when, Micah is near an adult, he is granted a birth certificate for the first time. So imagine being Micah and Mariah. Had their parents not gotten out to get their birth certificates, they would have been like basically nothing. They would have been they had no existence in terms of the United States government. They had no social security numbers and they had no birth certificates, rendering it dang near impossible for them to work, which makes you wonder, why on earth would they do this to their kids? Why would their kids be completely erased from the world? Are they trying to avoid paying taxes? Are they trying to avoid being tracked by the government? See, if you don't report your child's birth and they don't have a birth certificate, there's no way for the state to even know you have children. So were they trying to hide their kids from the government so that no one would know what's going on? Is that why they lived on a farm and far away from anyone? They didn't go to school. She homeschooled them. Could their homeschooling be because she literally never reported them to the state? I think it could be. So in their petition to court, which was actually dated back in 2017 in February, on February 28th, 2017, this is what they said. They said, now come Barry Robert Plath and Kimberly Doherty Plath. They have styled and mannered the state petition. They say that they are the residents of this place and they have 9 kids. So they say the parents have 7 minor children and it says the parents have 9 minor children. The last 7 were born at their residence of the parties. The births being assisted by a midwife and no medical doctor. Birth certificates were not obtained for these 7 children at their time of birth. The 7 minor children who lack birth certificates are the following: Micah, who was born in March of 2001, Mariah, who was born in 2002, Lydia, who was born in 2004, Isaac Gabriel, who was born in 2005, Amber, who was born in 2009, and Cassia, who was born in 2011, and then finally Mercy, who was born in 2013. They say they request that this court order that delayed birth certificates issued for each child showing information contained on the state delayed certificate of birth forms. And then they filled out forms for delayed birth. So mind you, when they filled these out, Micah was 16 years old. He was born in 2001. They requested his birth certificate in 2017. So he had no records with the state until he was 16 years old. Could this mean that the reason why they were never in public school, why they jumped from one place to the next in terms of churches, why they didn't go to the doctor, why she kept them away from the world? She literally wanted her children to have no paper trail. So when people are doing things that have no paper trail, a lot of times these people believe they're sovereign citizens. And if I've never had this idea that they're sovereign citizens, but man, if they are, they might have some really tricky beliefs. And we might have to dig into this a little more, because why all of a sudden would they have birth certificates needed? Oh, so when it wasn't convenient for them to be a part of the government and they didn't need the money, it didn't matter. And they didn't need anyone to know that these kids existed. But as soon as they wanted to get paid by TLC, I'm guessing they had to provide evidence of their birth to TLC so that they could work. And I'm guessing if they had to get work permits for the state for their kids to work with filming, they would have to provide birth certificates to the state. Just my thoughts. I can't say that's for sure, but that's kind of shady if you ask me. Why are you trying to hide your kids from the state? It's weird. It's weird to most people that do home births will have a midwife that helps file for their birth certificate after birth. You have to go out of your way not to file for a birth certificate. Thus, you wouldn't be able to claim them as a deduction on your taxes because there's literally no evidence of their birth. The government does not know about them. CPS would not know about them. No one would know about these kids. They were invisible, which makes you wonder what was going on in this home with a bunch of invisible kids. Now, some of the kids were about 4 or 5 years old when they finally get their birth certificates, but still, the older kids were invisible for almost their entire lives, outside of Ethan and Hosanna. So why were Kim and Barry so quick to finally get birth certificates when they needed it, but when it didn't matter, they didn't do anything? And what kind of damage did having the kids completely removed from the world have on them? Well, we're seeing how Ethan is completely inept and ill-prepared for the world as he has struggled to sort of balance everything that he didn't learn from his parents. Can you imagine how ill-equipped the younger kids would have been if they would have never had sort of any documentation? Could you imagine what Micah and Mariah would have to do if they didn't have a birth certificate and any legal paperwork for driving or for basically doing anything in this world? You have to have a birth certificate to get a driver's license. You have to have a birth certificate to get a passport. You have to have a birth certificate and a social security number to work. This family is just another family of grifters that's using TLC, and I'm sure everyone's gonna lap this season up, and we're gonna dig into this family more. So tell me what your thoughts are. Why is she hiding the records, and why did she suddenly need to get birth certificates? Was it for a payday? And was she able to sell out her, we're going to be so covert for cash? Is she selling her, fundamentalist beliefs for greed? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.